This video will help you to answer the main points of equalities legislation, including the concepts of direct, indirect, harassment and victimisation, and this is Assessment Criteria 2.4. The Equality Act includes 9 protected characteristics, and these are age, disability, gender reassignment, marriage and civil partnership, pregnancy and maternity, race, religion or belief, sex and sexual orientation. A fact sheet for further information on the Equality Act can be found on the CIPD website. Some of the main points of the equalities legislation includes the concepts of direct and indirect discrimination, harassment and victimisation, and discrimination by association and by perception. Here we look at indirect and direct discrimination. Indirect discrimination is the introduction of a working practice or condition that is to the disadvantage of a person within a protected characteristic, and it is not proportionate to achieving a legitimate aim. For example, if you change a shift pattern in work from 10 till 2 to 9 till 1, this is likely to indirectly discriminate against mums who would now not be able to start work on time due to the school run. Another example of this would be a job specification determines a minimum height, and this could be indirectly discriminatory because men tend to be taller than women, and also some races tend to be taller than others. Direct discrimination occurs when an employee is treated less favourably due to a protected characteristic, and those characteristics were those listed on the previous slide. Another point in the equalities legislation is harassment. Bullying and harassment is behaviour that makes someone feel intimidated or offended. It is unwanted conduct related to a relevant protected characteristic which has the purpose of violating an individual's dignity or creating an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating or offensive environment for that individual. And harassment is unlawful under the Equality Act. Examples of bullying or harassing behaviour include spreading malicious rumours, unfair treatment, picking on someone, regularly undermining a competent worker, denying someone training or promotional opportunities. And gov.uk have more information on this, and they state that bullying and harassment can happen face-to-face, by letter, by email or by phone. Another main point is victimisation, and this occurs when workers suffer a detriment wholly or partly because they've taken action under an employment statute, such as one relating to sex discrimination, or they have assisted others in doing so, and that's according to Taylor 2010. In other words, they are treated less fairly because they've made or supported a complaint related to the act, or they are suspected to do so. The phrase victimisation is often used loosely in the workplace. However, this does relate only to behaviour that's directed at an employee who has raised a claim of discrimination at a tribunal or tried to assert their statutory rights. Other forms of discrimination, not requested for Assessment Criteria 2.4 but still useful to be aware of, are associative discrimination and perceptive discrimination. Associative discrimination is a person who is discriminated against for having an association with a person who is covered under one of the protected characteristics. So, for example, a non-disabled employee who is discriminated against due to them having carer's responsibility for a disabled person. So perhaps they've been overlooked for a promotion opportunity because they are a carer. Another example of this could be that they are in a relationship with somebody who has one of the protected characteristics. For example, the employee's partner may have a reassigned gender, but they themselves do not. Perceptive discrimination is discrimination against a person who is perceived to possess a protected characteristic by the discriminator. A clear example of this would be a heterosexual person who was subject to ridicule for being homosexual even though they were not. The next video will help you to understand the concept of the psychological contract, and this helps to answer assessment criteria 2.5.